joined by Chelsey Gregg, head women's basketball coach at Portland State. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. So we're in the summer right now. Just tell me, do you get to take time away in the summer from coaching, or are you always busy, with your coaching duties?
Excuse me. Yeah, our summer kind of gives a busy time.
Okay.
Um, we are on a quarter system, and so our players
Mm.
had finals week 2 weeks ago, had a little
Okay.
bit of a break, and we just started this week with summer sessions. So
Okay.
um, we have our players on campus, and then on the women's side, we have 2 weeks that we go out recruiting in July as well. So
Okay.
our downtime is more August for us. I know that's not
Hmm.
collectively how it is for all college coaches, but for us, that's some time to kind of recoup and get ready for the year.
Nice. So are you always busy throughout the year? Your season goes, you start, games in November. I'm sure you start practices, well before that, and then, season goes through, March. Are you always busy year round, or, you get some downtime as you mentioned, like August?
Yeah, I think that we try to find ways
Mhm.
to recover and stay refreshed throughout the year. But yeah, those will start practice. You'll go through all of October and then start games in November. And then our conference play starts in January, end of December, January. And so
Mhm.
um, definitely those are our busy months of travel. And then we have spring break, excuse me, and then move into our spring practices. And so we find some chunks of time to recover and recoup along the way. But um, our August, June, a little bit, start of June, August, and then spring will get a little bit of time.
Nice. Then you're at Portland State. You're in Portland, Oregon. So just, tell me, about being at Portland State, and, what you enjoy most about, being in Portland, Oregon. I see,
Yeah.
it's
It's
a lot.
great weather right now. I think
Yeah.
when people think Portland, they think maybe rainy or cloudy, which is the case in the winter, but man, is it
Okay.
beautiful right now. It's 70s, 80s degrees. We have a great summer. I think the thing I love about Portland State is its location.
Hmm.
We are an urban campus, but have so many trees and just a great mix of like a city feel, but also nature and outdoors. And I love the diversity we have on campus. We just have people from all different parts of the country, international, as well as different nationalities. And I think that makes for an interesting and fun experience here.
So tell me, you're in the Big Sky Conference. You play with teams, Eastern Washington, Northern Arizona, Sacramento State, a lot of teams like that. You're a Division I school, but Big Sky might not be, the most well-known conference. So just, tell me a little bit about the Big Sky Conference. What
Yeah,
teams you play against?
I mean, the Big Sky Conference is super competitive.
Okay.
Uh, our travel partner is Sac State right now in Sacramento, California. In our conference play, like you had mentioned, we traveled to Northern Arizona, Northern Colorado, Eastern Washington, Montana, Montana State, Idaho State, Weber State, and Utah, um, just to name a few. We used to be a little bit larger. We had a few teams in Southern Utah just went to the WAC. And when I was first here in 2015, University of North Dakota was also in our league. And so, um, but yeah, super competitive. I think it's a great level of play when you look at our league, the Big Sky versus others, maybe like a
Hmm.
Big West or Mountain West, like we hold our own.
Okay.
And so I think it's a great, you get a great feel. I think
Mhm.
again, like in those schools, us and Sac State are really the only ones that aren't like rural schools or maybe like college towns, a little bit more urban. And so I think that we stand out in that way.
Okay. Cool. Then, I noticed, doing my research, your associate head coach is also, Greg. Is there any relationship there or no? No relationship?
There is, yeah.
Okay.
He is my husband. Yeah, he
Okay.
had started on the men's side. I was on the women's side, and had opportunity to both be on staff here at Portland State. And so he started working his way up as a director of operations. And
Okay.
then I had an opportunity to get the head coaching spots and kept him on staff. So I think we make a great team.
Okay.
We have two young children, a 4.5-year-old and a 11-month-old. And so we get to do the teamwork thing all the time, but
Okay.
we really like it, and I feel like it creates a family feel and somebody that I really always know has my back and I can depend on.
Nice. So two questions, with your answers. So, how is it, coaching with your husband? Do you enjoy it or is it tough? And then, how is it, being a mom, raising kids and coaching duties? Because I'm sure it's very difficult, especially when you're in the season, traveling to away games, being away from your family. I'm sure that can be difficult.
Yeah. I think it was an adjustment at first having a partner on staff. I think
Hmm.
before, because we were like in similar positions as assistant coaches and had our own roles, that um it didn't feel it just felt different. And then now as me as a head coach, he's super supportive, but we've had to just, hey, I'm wearing my work hat right now. This is our work relationship. And then we are at home, it is different as well. But he's super supportive of me, believes in me and our program, and just really thankful that we can do it together. And then being a mom, I think is just a huge blessing. I know that being an older mom, I don't know that I saw a lot of females in these spaces being head coaches and having children. And so it's been awesome to see more and more people having the opportunity and talking about it. But I think it's just time management and a great support system. We are really thankful to have family that comes in. They don't live here throughout the year, but they come in and support us and help watch our kids. We couldn't do it without them.
Yes.
When we travel, we miss them, of course, but I know that they're well taken care of and they have a great time with sitters and with our family, and it just makes that time sweeter once we get back.
Nice. Coach, can you tell me, like where you grew up, when you were younger and like when you were growing up, were you interested in sports or did you have other interests in hobbies growing up?
I grew up in Monroe, Washington, northeast of Seattle.
Okay.
Um, about at the time it was about 20,000 people. It's grown a lot since then. I love all the sports. I think
Hmm.
starting early, like 5 years old, playing soccer, and then I played basketball, so I played both all throughout high school. I actually played both in college as well. I played some spring soccer my freshman year, and then after I was done playing basketball, I played soccer a fifth year. So love the sports, and just have really been in the West Coast. I had opportunity to coach in Montana for a while, and then
Hmm.
come back to Southern Oregon, and now here at Portland State. So I love all the sports. When I'm not doing sports, we're probably watching basketball. I love
Okay.
to be outside.
Hmm.
But right now there's not a lot of hobbies. Maybe once the kids are grown, there might be something that I could to get into more. But right now it's work and basketball and kids is kind of the groove right now.
Nice. Then do you have any favorite teams, for like NBA or WNBA, I assume? Being in
Oh
Oregon,
man,
do you like the Trailblazers,
I
Um,
do. Being in Oregon, I'm a Trailblazers fan. I think I was more of
okay.
a Dame fan and
Okay.
CJ McCollum. And now that they're not
Hmm.
here, we still support them, of course, but it's a little bit different. I think WNBA has grown immensely.
Yeah.
There's so many great players in the league. I
Hmm.
think right now, one of the teams that I really love to watch is the Aces.
Okay.
Um, so I'd probably say they're one of the favorites right now, but there's a lot of teams, the Storm, the Liberty. I mean, there's a lot of great teams in the league right now. So I don't necessarily have one. I grew up a Seattle Supersonic fan, right? And then
Yeah.
they don't
Hmm.
have a team right now. So I guess the Storm's the next thing that I can cheer for since we don't have a WNBA team here in Portland
Yeah,
yet.
well,
Hopefully soon.
there's no NBA team anymore in Seattle, but you're also not in Washington anymore, so you're in Oregon, so I guess your closest team probably would be Portland.
Portland, let's go
Yeah.
Trailblazers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So coach, you grew up in Washington, you went to Southern Oregon. Can you tell me about Southern Oregon and how you ended up attending Southern Oregon, being from Washington?
Yes, I actually, the coach I played for, Lynn Kennedy,
Okay.
he was a teammate of the boys head coach at my high school. And
Hmm.
so, a long story short, I had a back injury in high school, and a lot of my recruiting had dipped down after that, dipped away. And so, I had reached out to Coach Kennedy, and he was at New Mexico Highlands at the time, a Division II. And so I ended up going there for my first year. We ended up winning the RMAC and having a highly successful year. He ended up taking the job at Southern Oregon. And so I didn't necessarily love it down in New Mexico. I really enjoyed playing for him, had a good experience, wanted to be a little bit closer to home. And so that's how I ended up at Southern Oregon. And I was so glad to be there. It's beautiful little town, had a great experience. Yeah, I love Ashland, where Southern Oregon's at. It's a really nice area.
Nice. So you played collegiately, that's correct.
Yep.
Nice. How was your time, playing at Southern Oregon? Did you enjoy college basketball, or did you not?
Yeah, I had a great time. Yeah,
Hmm.
it was trying first couple years. At SOU, my first year was a rebuild, and so we were really trying to just get the right pieces together. And then my senior year, I was voted Player of the Year of the conference, and we won the conference and ended up getting to go to the national tournament. And so it was an incredible experience. I really am thankful for the years that I had with coach, and it really led me into wanting to be a coach myself.
So I see you spent 4 years, as an assistant coach at University of Great Falls, in Montana, where you were getting your master's, in education. So tell me, how did you end up at Great Falls? Was getting your master's like always, like, did you always want to get your master's, or did that just end up happening, after Southern Oregon? And then, how was it balancing, both being an assistant coach and getting your master's? Because that can, be a lot just in general, just getting your master's.
Yeah, it was a good experience. I had family in Eastern Montana, so I thought, well, maybe I want to be closer to them. There was an opportunity to get my master's, so I did in my master's in secondary ed, and I student taught. I worked full time that first year and was a grad assistant actually, and then the next 3 years I was a full time assistant. As I finished up my master's, and it was just time management. Not a lot of free time to do a lot of anything else, but was definitely worth it. I had a great experience student teaching health and PE, freshman in high school, and met some really neat people along the way. So it's I sometimes in coaching and especially college athletics, you kind of just go where the jobs are at and the opportunities, and so whatever connections you have or openings that are there, um, you have to be willing to move, and that's what I did. So had a great 4 years and felt like it was time to move back to the West Coast. And Coach
Mhm.
Kennedy had availability for me to come back to my alma mater as an assistant. So it was just something I couldn't pass up.
So something, interesting about you, coach, that I found out is, you've, ran camps both at, Great Falls and Southern Oregon. You were, camp assistant director at, Great Falls, and then you also were director of, camps at Southern Oregon. So tell me about, running camps, at, throughout your career, and, just tell me, I assume you're, working camps and working with, younger, kids. So tell me about your passion for working, growing the game of basketball.
Yeah, it's just a love for the game. I think that it's an opportunity to give back to a game that's given so much to me. And I also just think it's a neat space for kids to even see if they like basketball. I think so many times we want people to specialize, kids to specialize things, and I think sometimes we just lose the love of the game. And so it's fun to be able to be reminded of that when we do camp in Great Falls and at Southern Oregon. We did a lot of youth camps. We did a lot of like younger kids, like grades like 1 through 5, and then sometimes we did some middle school camps too. So just a great way to get kids introduced to the game and fall in love with it.
Yes. So after, your time at Great Falls, then you return, to Southern Oregon as an assistant coach, where you went to school. So, just tell me, how special was it to return to Southern Oregon? And, how difficult was it to leave Southern Oregon, when you came to Portland State?
Yeah, it's definitely a special place in my heart. I'm a alum of Southern Oregon. I love the area. I was thankful to come back and coach for Coach Kennedy, who I played under. But I think anytime that you can have an opportunity to get some Division I experience, especially not having played Division I, it was an opportunity that I was super excited about. And then now been here 9 years. So
Yeah.
SOU feels like a long time ago, but it will always hold a special place in my heart for sure.
Yes. So as you mentioned, now you've been at Portland State, for 9 years. You started as an assistant coach, then you were associate head coach. Now you've been, the head coach since, April 2021. So first off, how did you end up at Portland State, and what was it like when you were, elevated to be the head coach in 2021?
Yeah, I had been here as an assistant for 3 years and then associate head coach for three after that, which Coach Kennedy decided to take a different opportunity. I thought, man, this is the time. This is the time to be able to see if I want to be a head coach and put my name in the hat, and ended up after a national search that they chose me. So was really thankful for the opportunity. Felt good about it, being familiar with the people and how things worked here, and the roster. So it was a great transition for sure.
And then you've been at Portland State for 9 years. So, just how much have you enjoyed your time so far at Portland State? Being in, Portland, Oregon. How have you enjoyed your 9 years?
Yeah, it has. It's a neat. It definitely some not even challenges, but uniqueness to recruiting to Portland State, as it's like I said, an urban campus, maybe not necessarily a traditional campus feel, but we have a new arena now going into, I believe, year five, year
Okay.
six. And it's an outstanding facility. And so that's a huge plus for us and our weight room and again, just location, right? It's just easy to get to for people that traveling in, and it's just a kind of a laid back vibe to it, and it's just a great place to work.
Yes. So finally, coach, given, you've been a head coach for several years and you've been at, many different schools. So, now you're a head coach, at Portland State. What do you enjoy most, about being, a head coach, and, what do you enjoy most about getting to work, with your players, while they're playing college basketball?
I think about the opportunity that I
Mhm.
get to provide opportunity for them to get a degree, to play college basketball, which is really awesome that I don't take lightly. And I think the thing that I enjoy most is the relationships, just to help them continue to grow their game, to grow as people, and to get their degree. We have a lot of first generation athletes that are at Portland State and on our team as well. And so it's been really neat for them to be able to use sport to be able to have a great experience, of course, but also to get their degree. And so that's been really a highlight of what I do.